Celeb Savant, Barrett Edelstein. We at Solid Gold Podcast in Randburg, Johannesburg, South Africa. And I'm very grateful to be in the studio with Dada.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing today?
I am doing well. It's a pleasure to be with you. Last time I saw you, we were at a cinema together. So
Yes.
I was like, my movie buddy, I'm going to go chill with you today.
Yes. So for the listeners and viewers, I met Don at a Music Africa Rising conference, and then we were at the AKA Levels 10 documentary together.
Yeah.
So we've got some history.
Yes, sir.
So now, okay, why did you choose the stage name Don Dada?
Well, it's not that I chose it, it chose me. So I started my career professionally at the age of 13. And I started as a battle rapper. So in battle rap, I mean, it's all about dissing the opponents and so on and so forth. And we were watching a movie, it's called Belly. And there's a character in Belly that steps up and he says, "I am the original Jamaican Dada." And my cousins were like, "Yo, that's your style. You rap like that." And that just became my name from then onwards. And funny thing is, years later, on the passing of the actor who actually played that role, I got in touch with his family and I was speaking to his brother, and his brother actually said, "Look, it's a pity he passed away because he would have loved to meet you. But now that he's gone, you are the original Dada." So
Okay.
it's like now I got the name for real, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it came about.
You slightly tapped into, what is battle rap?
Oh, well, how do you describe battle rap? So it's freestyling, thinking on the spot, making up words, and it's basically 1v1, so opponent versus opponent. One guy disses the next guy's skills, talent, whatever you can diss, and then you basically retaliate. So that was battle rap back then. I don't know what it has become now because that was way back, but yeah, that's what it was.
So you putting the person down.
Yeah, that's well, kinda. Not really putting them down, but saying that my skill is better than yours.
Oh, so focusing not necessarily on their personal stuff, but
Yeah.
focusing on the skill of that thing.
100%. But like I'm saying, things have evolved. That's when I started.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where they are
What's
with
happening
it now.
with
Yeah.
the way people carry on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you already referenced that you started at the age of 13
Yeah.
with battle rap. So
Yeah.
is that when your path in the industry started? And from there, how did it accumulate to where we are now?
Well, yeah, 100%. So, man, 2000 was such a hectic year for me. That's when I was 13. So if you do the maths, you'll get my age, right? But anyway, when I started, that was in the beginning of the year. It was a great thing. It was a great tool. And what happened is that my dad was friends with Gus Smythe from Dr. Victor and the Rasta Rebels, trumpet player. So he lived not far from us, and I started freestyling, and I thought, you know what, let me go and try this out at the studio. So I went and I recorded at the studio. This is a couple months after I had started, and it went so well. My first single was taken and put onto Hype magazine, which was the only hip-hop magazine at the time. And that thus became my career. It was born professionally from there. So like a couple months after starting, I was in the magazine, and then from there, everything snowballed.
Okay, next step. So what was the snowball? So
Wow.
yeah.
Next steps, even better. I was still in high school. I heard on 5FM. I don't know if you remember Mark Gilman.
Yes,
he
of
had
course,
a show.
yes.
Yeah. So he had a show called Gilman Make Us Famous. It was a rock band competition. And all you had to do was submit your music. You enter, you compete against other garage bands. Winner goes to Opi Kopi. I didn't know it was for rock bands. I just thought it was a music competition.
Yes.
So I submitted. We did swimmingly well in that competition. I was in grade 9 or 10 at the time. 5FM came to the house and did the whole breakfast podcast recording. Everyone says podcast now. Right?
The radio show, yes.
Yeah, 100%. Whole radio show from the garage. That was grade 10. So I finished in second place in that competition, which is amazing for artists who didn't have a band in a band competition.
Yes.
So, and then from there, I thought, you know what, we're going to do very, very well in music. Let's be serious about it. I went and I studied sound engineering at the Academy of Sound Engineering. That's where I was in class with AKA, so many amazing people. Saudi Western Rap Movement, which is a great big rap movement in the south of Joburg, that gave you the likes of Muggs and Glitz Gang and stuff. So a great breeding ground of talent. Across the road was Ghetto Rough Records, where I met the guys from Jersey and all of that. And then, from there I started my own company, produced my own music and started pushing, and the rest is history, as they say.
So your own company, was that focusing on production of music or other elements as well?
All elements. So at the time, it was a friend of mine and myself. We had both studied at school together. So we were looking at all the artists around us and thinking, how could we assist these artists in getting music out? So we were recording the music, burning it onto CDs at the time and taking it to all the hip hop stores, distributing it and coming on Fridays and picking up whatever our sales were and giving it back to the artists. So that was the beginning of something, but it wasn't really official. In 2017, I went and I formed Rough Cut Studio with my father, which is now the company that I still trade under, and then it became really official. And yeah, took it to the next level with distribution with Tuff Gong International, which is Bob Marley's record label, working with Gallo as the publishing. So really built a solid foundation from there. But that was like the breeding ground, the learning ground, yeah.
And that you're still doing that now?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Now you reference this, so I'm diving into this discussion. I love this debate. I have it with all my artists that I interview for the show.
Okay.
I love me a CD. I love the aesthetic of holding something. I love the journey of the choice, the booklet, the receiving, the unpacking, listening from song 1 to whatever number.
100%.
I'm not sure if you're aware. You must be aware. In the game, CDs, vinyls, and even cassettes are on a massive comeback.
Yes.
Vinyls last year, 5.9 million sales, the biggest since 1990. I see Thailand is now opening up their vinyl factory again. That's been closed for 50 years. They're now reopening it.
Amazing.
In the UK, they've got a basket of products that they analyze costs for or fluctuations to allow them to choose or deal with income tax.
Okay.
Vinyls have been in that basket for the longest time. With the growth of CDs back again, the CDs are now back in that basket in the UK as well.
Nice.
So, but we've also got these streaming platforms that people listen to music on. So what are your observations, understanding that you've got this other side business that deals with behind the scenes? What is your perception of where we're at the moment?
Well, that's an interesting question, because when you look at that, I start speaking about the value of music. When you look at vinyls, CDs, cassettes, this is when music actually had a solid value, not only to the music creator, but to the listener, because you're spending your hard-earned money to get this vinyl, the CD. So you're going to listen to everything on there, track 1 to the last track. You're going to see what I like. You're not going to listen to it once. You're going to listen to it a couple of times.
Yep, more than a couple, yes.
100%. So it's adding a lot of value to the music. You want to get that 100 Rand or whatever you paid back from it. So that was a beautiful thing. When you look at the digital front, it really devalued the music, because you're looking at a surplus of music and it's accessible at any moment in time. So people are going and not really experiencing the full project that an artist has put out. And believe me, an artist puts a lot of thought into the project they put out. It's not only about singles. So people are going and skipping like every 10 or 30 seconds into a song because, okay, I don't like the vibe, the lyrics, takes too long, and you're not really getting the full experience, which for an artist is a shame, because you've put so much work into it. The people are just skipping over it. So I really do support the comeback of vinyls and CDs, but it's not only to trash on the digital realm, because the digital realm is quite valuable. It allows you to touch the world in an instant. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like, what do you want to get out of these platforms? I've heard of artists that can actually withhold music. So they'll create something that's specifically for the digital realm, knowing that this is going to do well and spread, and people are not really going to listen to everything. So this is to get my name out, and then holding on to proper music that'll come out in a more physical nature, so that the people can get the value of that. So it comes down to your marketing strategy, how you're thinking as an artist. How do you want to use these platforms? So it's not really what these things are doing, but what can you do with them? That's the question.
Okay. So now your creation of music from 0 to 3 to 4 minutes in creating a song. What motivates it? What invigorates it? Is it easy every time? Let's unpack your creative brain.
Well, it's very different every time. It depends on what you're working with. If I'm working on a feature already comes with an idea. Usually it'll come with the chorus or a verse or something that you can see this is what this person wants to do, which is quite easy. You're basically playing follow the leader. So creating there is a quick process. When it comes to creating your own music, then it also becomes, what am I creating this for? If it's a single, then singles are much easier, because you say, okay, single, I'm looking for something commercial, maybe something that people can dance bands to, so you're narrowing it down, you know, the subject matters that these people would be looking at, easier to create from. When you're looking at a project, now you start thinking about, okay, what is this project trying to say? And how do I put these pieces of the puzzle together from the intro going all the way down? So you have to be more methodical, and then also think about, how do I not repeat things? Because you can fall into that rut very easily if you're creating singles, you know, because a single is a single. So if the next single is also a club single, you're repeating the same thing, but it's not perceived as that because the sound is different and it's not on a project. So you have to be careful how you put down the music. What is the plan of the music? So I think about all of this, and then it gets to the writing. The writing, I usually start with the chorus. Chorus will give you direction because that is your main center of the song. From chorus, I go to verse. I usually try and keep first verse and second verse fairly similar in structure and style so that the listener is not put off. And then on the third verse, I like to switch it up because the brain does like something different always. So that's where I'll put something of a surprise. Mind you, that's not always my technique, but that's the basic.
So now, genre, are you still doing hip hop or rap or what? And are you also doing reggae?
Yeah.
Okay, so when did the reggae start?
Well, reggae, professional release, I think about three or 4 years ago. That's when I began with reggae. Look, I've been born a Rastaman. My real name is Menelik Nesta Gibbons. So in 1980, in the streets of Harare, Zimbabwe, my mom met Bob Marley. They had a conversation. The conversation centered around African history, more specifically the kingdomships of Ethiopia. At the time, my mom didn't know so much about it, so she kept saying, look, there's a famine. I don't know what you want me to say. There's a drought out there. And he was like, no, I want to know their history. So at the end of the conversation, he said, look, make me a promise. You're going to go back, you're going to do your research and find out about your history. If you ever have a child one day, you're going to name the child after me. So my name, Menelik, is Ethiopian history. We're looking at the lineage of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Their son was Menelik, which is the lineage of Emperor Haile Selassie I. That's my name, Menelik. Middle name, Nesta, Robert Nesta Marley, Menelik Nesta Gibbons. So reggae music and me is before I was born.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting journey. So Bob Marley performed, as I said, Zimbabwe's independence.
Yes.
I was brought back to perform for the second independence, as they say, for the now president, Emerson Mnangagwa. So it's been a very blessed journey. And then to be taken on by Tuff Gong International, Bob Marley's label, without looking for it, we keep on walking on the same path.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
So why the wait to start reggae, and what was the motivation to do it 3 years ago?
Well, you know, my first tour that I was taken on was with Everton Blender. I was taken to Kenya to perform with him, Everton Blender is a Grammy Award winning reggae artist. Very great gentleman. So I'm taken to perform with him. I'm doing my hip hop thing. And when I got there, they said, look, one day you're going to end up doing reggae music. And I was like, these old guys, I don't know what they're saying. So fast forward just a little bit after that, I do an interview on ANC's 1912 online radio. And listening in is a man in Canada from Wadadli Vibes FM. His name was MC Kulai. He listens, he says, look, I like your vibe. I like the way you speak. Would you like to come in and do an interview? So I say, look, I can't come in. I'm in South Africa.
Yeah.
But no problem. Give me a call. Calls at 2 a.m, do the interview. And listening in was Mr. Leroy Scarlett, reggae powerhouse band all the way in Kingston, Jamaica. He calls Canada and says, that African artist on the station, I love what was going on there. Can you please give him this beat and let's work? So they send it to me and I'm like, I'm not really sure what to do with it. So I'm just going to try something.
Yeah.
So I recorded a song, sent it back to Mr. Leroy. He listens to it. He says, look, I'm not going to promise anything. I'm going to shop it around. Let's see what happens. Took it to Tuff Gong International. Tuff Gong says, we love the song. We'd love to give you a distribution deal. So the distribution deal was first going to be in my name. And I was like, look, I would love to put it in my company's name because I want to help out other artists and open up doors. Tuff Gong was more than gracious. They said, look, we'd love for you to do that as well. So they put it into my studio's name. So I'm able to do all of that. And then that was the birth of reggae for me. I immediately was taken internationally with reggae. So I was like, good path, stay on this. And yeah, it's been a great journey.
So when you got those, the call from Canada and Mr. Leroy, the thing from Jamaica, and all of this happening, was it a surprise and shock, or was it just like, okay, well, let's just see where this goes?
I think it was, You know, because at that stage, I've been doing music already for quite a while. So it was like, okay, let's see where this goes. This is interesting. It's something different. I mean, we've been doing hip hop for so long, and hip hop has taken us quite far. We were performing in a lot of countries in Africa and so on. But this was really the first time to go on across the ocean with it overseas. So it was a great opportunity, but it was something that for me, I thought about it and thought that I need to take this in my stride, and I need to do it in a comfortable way that I can repeat the process. So yeah, that was the idea.
So now you're doing reggae and you're doing hip hop.
Yeah.
When you go into the studio, do you know, okay, today I'm doing a reggae song, tomorrow I'm doing a hip hop song, or is it just like, okay, whatever happens?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So, like most recently, I was working on a project for the past year or so. So the project's entitled The Heart and the Mind, double album, double genres. So one disc hip hop, one disc reggae. And so when it came to that, it was a conscious decision to say, okay, let's go to the studio today and make reggae music. And then tomorrow, when we're done with the reggae, we're going to go on to hip hop. I wanted to separate the two and not do it at the same time, so that when I sit back and I look at it, I can say, this is what I've said over here. Let's do something different over here. But also, when I'm working, it depends who I'm working with. So when I'm working with a lot of the South African producers, a lot of my guys from Europe, hip-hop guys, very well established in hip-hop, and then a couple of them make amapiano. So for me, that's just naturally going to go towards the hip-hop circle, because that's what they do as well. But then when I'm working with my Jamaican family, Jamaica is reggae music, so I make what they make. So it really depends who I'm with, how we working at the time. If I'm with both, I'll just be like, you guys fight it out, whoever wins, that's what we're doing today. Yeah.
But now, so surely the creation of a reggae song compared to hip hop is quite different.
Yeah.
So if you've been doing, saying, a week and a half or 2 weeks of reggae, does it take a moment for your brain to recognize, okay, now I'm switching to hip hop, or is it just so natural that it does it on its own?
It used to be like that. So before, I would take a week or two just sitting and listening to hip hop or listening to reggae, just to flip the mind back into what was going on there. But now that I've been working on this project for so long, it's like I've just been jumping between it every day. So now mentally, it's more flexible.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if I take a break, it'll go back to that zone. And it's natural, I guess. You become comfortable in what you're repeating. So yeah.
Comfort zones.
Yeah, 100%.
So now when you listen to music by other artists, are you able to just relax and listen? Or is your creative technical brain unpacking what you're listening to?
Oh, I love relaxing and listening to other people's stuff. I do get technical sometimes. It depends how I'm listening. Like if I'm in the studio alone and it's late at night and I've got the headphones on, and then I'll be more technical with the listening. I will be like, okay, I want to hear the sounds. I want to hear the space between the instruments. How did he mix this? How many voices are on here? But if I'm listening in more of a communal setting, it's just music to relax to. It's a good vibe. Also, my daughter, she's 15. She wants to become an artist. So when she plays me different music, I'll listen to it more from a listener side of things to begin with, just to see, okay, why is this music so popular? And then after that, I'll become more technical and say, okay, I see its appeal. How do they create this? So both.
And now, when you perform live, is it hip hop, reggae, or do you blend them together? Both. Again, I love blending things, as you can hear. I'm always about both. That's my vibe. I also have a live band, Redemption Sound, which is a whole bunch of legendary artists. Veli Shabangu, coming from the Lucky Dube band. That's my drummer. Rashid Lani, he is a Netflix movie composer. So this guy, he's amazing with it. He studied at the University of LA for movies, worked with the Lionel Richies and the likes of those. We've got Aus Tebs on bass, which is the best female bassist or even bassist in South Africa. And then we have Joel on lead guitar, who also comes from the Lucky Dube band. So it's quite a crazy bunch of people, because coming from reggae, jazz, great mix of things. Here I am with my reggae music as well, throwing in the hip hop. So it becomes a very artistic journey when we work together. Yeah. And then what do you enjoy about performing live?
I like the crowd. I really love the crowd. It's a nice experience to interact with people, and not just to interact with people, but to see how people react to your music. it's two different worlds of live. There's live when they know your music and they're singing along, which is a beautiful vibe. Like, it's nice to see how many people know, love, and appreciate your song. But then there's also this side of live where they don't know your music. They're listening to it for the first time. You're performing it for them, and I love to see their reaction and see how they feel about my music. It's one of those pure moments in life. You don't get a lot of times like that, and thankfully I've been lucky enough that I've not yet had one person come up to me and say they don't like it. So maybe they said it at their table, I don't know, but yeah.
But if they don't like it, they mustn't come.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm that person that's normally right up in front, dancing, jamming, doing my thing.
Yes, sir.
I'll have my cell phone out for a couple of minutes, couple of photos, couple of videos, and I put my cell phone away.
Nice.
A lot of people around me have their cell phones out 60, 70, 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Tweeting, posting, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But now, from the person on the stage receiving that, do you not feel that it takes away from that connection, that energy, the feeling of them participation, or it's just where society is at the moment?
For me, I feel like it's society. It's their way of grabbing a piece of this event that they can keep forever. Whenever they want, they're just going to review it. So I kind of like it. I kind of like that people are appreciating my art so much that they want to leave with a piece of it and review it when they're alone. So I don't really mind it. Look, if you're looking down on the phone and you're not watching, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
Then I feel like, okay, you're not interested. But for the most part, I think that, the world is evolving. It's going in many different directions. I mean, you start seeing artists doing performances on Fortnite in video games. So if you can go in that direction, then cell phones, I mean, it's a small thing.
Yeah. So what's coming up next? What's short term, long term? What's happening?
So many amazing, beautiful things. Building bridges within Jamaica, trying to create platforms where we can take South African artists, not just myself, to go and perform, and vice versa, bringing Jamaicans right back to South Africa, and doing that whole cultural exchange. Like I said, I view the Caribbean as the 6th district of Africa: Northwest, East, South, Central Caribbean. So we need to create all of these type of bridges between each other so that our musics can go further, influence each other further, and I think that'll also create more of a global sound when we look at the creation of music. So I'm very much at the forefront of pushing that. Also working with different charities. Every year I have different organizations that I work with. The Nkosi Johnson Foundation is something I'm very passionate about. So once a year we chill with the children, perform, if not perform, just chill with them, bring my radio set up, video games, have a good time with the kids. So that's something you'll always be seeing me doing. As well as the Saeed Foundation coming up is every year around about winter time, they do a talent show for children.
Okay.
So I usually go, I judge it for the kids. We take the children that win the talent show, bring them to my studio, do a podcast, give them their first steps into media. So that's also something I'm very passionate about. Mentoring other artists. Oh man, so many things. Networking, I'm busy. Yeah.
And on the music front?
Yeah, well, music front, new album, performances, Jamaica, here I come. We've just been playlisted in the UK, BBC, so hoping to go into the UK as well with the music. US, definitely, that's something that we've been discussing, trying to set up a tour that side as well. And keep on creating, performing, that's the ideas.
So it's a new album, this album you referenced earlier about one disc reggae, one disc hip hop.
Yes, sir.
So that's out?
It's about to be out. Matter of fact, by the time this is out, it should be out.
Okay.
So, yeah, perfect. So
and
you guys keep an eye.
Remind us of the name of it.
It's called The Heart and the Mind. It's one disc, the heart, reggae music, one disc, the mind, hip hop. It's going to be an amazing, beautiful experience. Nobody's ever done it. Double genres, double disc. I've not seen it before. So, have a look for that.
And get the physical.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I love this game. I know if I had to ask you this question in 2 minutes, 2 years, 20 years, 8 minutes, I know your answer will be different every time simply because there are millions of them. I understand that and I recognize that. I'm not saying favorite, I'm saying top of mind. If you had to push play to 5 songs from other artists, once we finish this conversation, what would those 5 songs be and by whom?
Well, number one immediately just jumps to the mind, and it's going to be a cheat. I'm using a cheat code on this. I'm going to say the Marleys, because the whole Marley family, I'd love to work with every single one, from grandchildren to the sons. Amazing music there. So pressing play right there. After that, I'm going across to let's be a bit eclectic. And I haven't heard anything from this band in a while. I really like their music, Mumford and Sons.
Yes.
I really like what they do. Great sound going on there. Go across again into some hip hop. Press play on Action Bronson. You haven't released in a while, my brother. Release. Even if I'm the only person that's listening, release for me. I love his music, yo. So Action Bronson, definitely. And then skip it all the way. Boom, boom, boom. Come back to South Africa and give it to a South African doing amazing things right now. Press play. I'm a piano. Tyler, loving what she's doing. The young lady is making us shine. Big up yourself. I love the vibes. Tyler.
And one more. That was 4.
One more. Ooh, sorry. See, that's why I'm an artist, not a mathematician. All right. One more. Press play. I've done hip hop. I'm a piano. A little bit of rock music. I'm going to go way back in time. I love classical music. So I am going to go either with a Bach or I'm going to go, is it Tchaikovsky? Tchaikovsky, the Russian. I love his music as well. Yeah.
What does it mean to mentor other artists? What is that?
Well, it's to teach them how to make a living within music and within media. It's also to teach them the different aspects that are within the industry so that they don't limit themselves. And it's also to show them how to navigate this, how to generate income, how to navigate this industry in order to generate income. Because it's one thing to tell a person how to make music and how to do this and that, but how do they make money out of it? So my whole thing is teaching people how to survive, how to become somebody that has longevity within the industry. Because one thing I always stress to young artists is that it's not only being behind the mic. There's a producer, there's roadies, there's so many different aspects. That's why there's music and there's business, music business. So even if you focus on the business, you're still going to be within the industry. Matter of fact, longer than any artist. So know what you're doing before you just start creating music. I always stress that.
Do you find that a lot of artists coming into it are naive of the extent of what needs to be done and what variables are in place that they're not even aware of?
Well, yeah, 100%. And I don't blame them. Even I was when I came into the industry. It's because of how music is portrayed. It looks so easy, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
You put it, so it's the audience, sorry to interrupt, the audience thinks, okay, cool, there's a music video. There's them on stage. I just write my song and boom, boom, and there we go.
100%. I thought music was like recorded straight onto the CD. That's what I thought when I was younger. Like I thought, okay, you go on the mic, you sing, everything's going straight onto the CD, no mix, nothing. I didn't even know about mixing, and then the people buy it. And, I didn't even know about marketing, so I don't know how I thought the people bought it, but they bought it. So now, when you understand how the industry works, you really start to see that there's so many different aspects that you got to focus on. And the shame is that most people only find out these things once they begin working. So it's a work in progress. You're bumping your head and paying school fees as you're moving forward, which is a very painful process, which I think can be avoided if you start getting a little bit of knowledge beforehand. That's why I give so much respect to schools like Academy of Sound Engineering, because they equip these young kids so that when they step into the place, sure, you may not know everything, but you know enough to stand at least a little bit firmly. So yeah, just research whatever you're going into, because the whole thing about being a master is that a master makes something difficult seem easy. And when you're watching videos and listening to radio, you're watching masters. So just know that it's a trick. You know, it looks easy, but it's not. Let me just find out how it's done.
Have you found a lot of artists, because they haven't understood all the nitty-gritties and all the elements that come into play, it prevents them or allows them to think, okay, well, I can't do this, so they move away from it?
Well, I think it also becomes so frustrating, actually, because one of the main things that happens is that you start creating your music and you have all this high energy and drive and you're like, this is great music. And then you find out very quickly submitting it is going to be difficult. You know, radio stations are not really going to play this because they want something that's already popular. They want something that the audience loves. You're unknown. So how do you become something that's popular? That's the question that pops up immediately. From there, you start thinking, well, this is a very expensive excursion because I've got to take pictures. I've got to do music videos. I need new clothing for every time I go out. I'm not really working. I'm not at a job anymore because I'm only putting all of my time into creating and marketing. So I'm not earning, and then I'm not earning again. So what do? It becomes frustrating, and then also becomes the thing of all of these fragmented governing societies. So you may know Samro, but you don't know Capasso. You may know Samro and Capasso, but you don't know Rav. It's fragmented. So it's hard for you to now go and consolidate the little bit of money that you may have generated here and there. In the end, you're like, you know what? It was easier in the office. I was like, I was getting paid every month.
Yeah.
I'm going back. So, I don't blame them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the podcast is listened to throughout the world. As a final message, what would you like to say?
I would say do not be discouraged. I would say that the only way you can win a race is to keep on running that race. If you stop before the finish line, you've given up. You cannot win. And sometimes it does get lonely, but don't worry about it. Just go to that finish line, because one of the reasons that you may be alone is because you're winning. So keep on pushing, right? And my other thing that I would love to say is that start moving today. If you have a pen and paper, you want to be an artist, start writing them songs. Do not wait for the perfect environment. Perfect never comes. Start moving today, because as soon as you start moving, other people want to jump on board the train and move with you. So start moving today, start working today, never give up, keep pushing forward, and God willing, you'll get what you want.
So guys, as Don says, start the race, maybe with a few steps, not a run, start walking. Don't give up, speak to people on the way, and then just win the race. This is Celeb Savant signing out.
Another production from Solid Gold Podcasts.